You know, I get quite a few people want to see what all this stuff is that's behind you when you're doing your social media filming here. And I do the same thing. I see them on TV and I kind of look to see, because to me it tells me a little bit about the person's personality. Not always, but I think it does. And this is kind of that same kind of thing. It's a little bit of my history and things that really had a special meaning to me. I'm not going to give you in order necessarily the times these took place. So I'm going to start over here. A gentleman, Scott, made this, and it's a 3D sketch of the lakes, Lake St. John's River, because I'd won 2016 and 2019. I'd won the elite events there, and this was my 50th year anniversary and 500th tournament when we went back there, and he brought this up and gave it to me, and it's just amazing. It even almost shows the topography of those places, but it's such a neat thing that you can go back in time and look at it, and you've been there and pretty much all over it. Then One Bass Hall of Fame here, 2022. We were out at Lake Mojave for the U.S. Open. Up on top is the classics I won in 1976, 77, 84, and 1990. My trophies, Johnny Moore's got those and put them in the Hall of Fame there at the Bass Pro Shops in Springfield, Missouri, and the Wildlife Museum. So this was really kind of neat. A Native American lady brought this to me at a tournament in Oklahoma that she had beaded this herself, and
so pretty.
And I just love it. I don't dare wear it, this probably was 7, 8 years ago, and but still it's incredibly special. Here's my 34-pound, 15-ounce string from St. John's River when I won in 2019. Won in 2016, my youngest son would be standing there holding the fish that Mercer's holding.
And who'd you get that from? A fan?
A fan. I shot that picture and it really became quite popular. People using it over time now of that event and that particular catch.
Awesome.
And again, my first book ever had written by Steve Price. You go back and most of the time when you go back, that's 40 years ago, you start laughing at your theories and observations, but I'm kind of impressed that I've gone back and looked at it that I was really, yeah, occasionally I was on the wrong path with it, but, and this here, me and my oldest son, Sage.
And River.
And River. And then the favorite statement is, you got a friend in me. And, you know, Woody and Buzz, and it's kind of a neat thing. Of course, here's my Trickster spinnerbait, which, golly, there's so many great memories with that. That's an amazing, amazing spinnerbait.
What's the picture behind?
The picture behind is after I won, I don't know what classic that was, probably 84. It was a Team Daiwa classic, and it was the king and his court, and all those other guys were probably going to tie a rock around my leg and throw me in because I was supposed to be the king, yeah. And there were some amazing, amazing anglers: Larry Nixon, George Cochran, Guido Hibden, Denny Breyer.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it's and this is a white buffalo that a really neat writer from Texas, Chester Moore, gave to me. And I haven't seen him in a long time, and I kind of miss him. But he has a really neat way of looking at Mother Earth and the world. There's my saying that I spit out in 2016 at the Classic I won in the St. John's. Never accept that all your best moments are in the past, even though I said all your greatest moments.
You said best.
No, and my wife's arguing with me again. So, and here's the Ricos. I've been with them now for over 30 years, as you can see right down here, the Ricos. Al Fisher, great friend of mine from the Lucky Strike and Bill Norman days. carved that for me and varnished it and sent it to me. This book right here is from the guy who basically, I'm going to have to show it to you because I've talked about it before, Lou. And for me, this is the best reels ever made. It's Ambassador Garcia's. Okay, this is almost the best reel, but it still had that old-fashioned way of disengaging. And when I went with Garcia, I talked him into doing a thumb bar that you see like on this reel now here, the thumb bar. And I'd forgotten about it. And Lou Bergström, those were made in Sweden. And he sent me this book thanking me for designing that in the reels. But that's kind of a neat deal that actually very few things you originate. We take things from other people, we may improve them, but that one basically we originated.
What's the blue?
Dywall, probably.
No.
No, that's Bass Pro Shop.
That was the one you designed with them?
No, yeah, this.
The blue one.
I don't remember. It's another.
It has your name on it.
I know it is. It's my name on it, but it's a Bass Pro Shop. I did several I've been with several companies. You know, Abu Garcia was the first one, then Dywall, and then Bass Pro Shops, the Johnny Morris products. And still to this day, I fish the Johnny Morris Signature Series reel. It's still one of my all-time favorites. That's my daughters. They're a little bit older nowadays. They both have great families. And this is my osprey feather. And this is I want to just basically tell the federal government this is not a real one. Because it's against the federal law to own a real bird of prey feather. And but one of my first trips in the St. Johns River, I was fishing an eelgrass bed, and this osprey got above me, and you know how they'll just hover up over me, and this feather flew out of it and just went in circles down and stuck straight up in the eelgrass. And I carried that feather with me for years in my tackle box. And so it's just to remind me who the really good fishermen are. The world's toughest board game called Lunker. And I couldn't play it, so I don't know how anybody else could. And oh gosh, that brings back Brian Kershaw. I knew him a brief moment in time, but I did get to know him a little bit fairly well. And that's one of his whistles that he would blow every time he'd catch a fish at the classic that he won at High Rock Lake. So it's neat. But this is my greatest angler debate trophy. I didn't think I had a chance, and I was surprised because I didn't have a TV show, and that's the reason I say that. Bill Dance, Jimmy Houston were candidates. Roland Martin obviously was candidates. Other anglers, and our fans voted on us. Not the fellow anglers or anybody or your family. Well, maybe the family a little bit. I hope they're fans. But I won it, and it was really shocked me that I did. So it's very, very special. This is a Stones tour we did here last year. Johnny Morris invited us to it down in Thunder Ridge, and we.
Did you enjoy that?
I enjoyed it because what's the lead guy in it, Melissa?
Seriously?
No, what is his name?
I'm not going to tell you.
Anyway, he was pushing 90 years old, and the way he could move on the stage, because that's one of my goals, is to be able to compete at a high level, until the very, very end. And that's one of my goals, and it kind of inspired. I didn't understand the music. I missed that era. I didn't miss it. I just didn't listen to it because I was on the water all the time. And but I was so inspired by the way he performed.
It's Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger, thank you. She's punishing me.
Sad.
Yeah, and this is one of my greatest fans of all time here is McKenna Taylor. And she came to a lot of the Florida events, and she'd be in the crowd holding up and I haven't seen her now in about, 4 or 5 years, so I'm sure she's turning into a young woman now.
She was there last year, babe.
Oh, my wife just corrected me,
Okay.
which is, she's good at it. But thank you, McKenna. I appreciate you. And this is, I'm not a big deer hunter. We eat deer meat pretty much exclusively, but Melissa shoots them. I did shoot this one a few years ago here on the property. And it's the biggest I've ever shot. It's not huge, it's a pretty deal, but what really was impressive is when I was skinning its head, I noticed this deal sticking out the side here, and I thought it was a tooth that had grown out the side. And actually, I finally got it cleaned. And to make a long story short, right here, it goes through there, both sides, is a horn of another deer stuck in there, and it had broken off. Yeah, right here. That horn, see? That horn goes in this side and it's sticking all the way there. And yet that deer was incredibly healthy. So can you imagine? Everybody complains about pollen in their sinuses. Well, that poor thing had a horn in its sinuses. But it was beautiful deer, body-wise and everything. It's tough. Tall Call Campground at Santee Cooper, Rhonda brought this to me at Lake Murray in South Carolina and gave it to me. That she had it made for me. Again, it's beautiful, and it's some things I just don't figure out how I deserve. But thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate it. So, okay, and then one of the here. These are just lures that had meaning to me over the years. This was my Poe's 300s that I helped design, even though I won the classic on a Poe RC3 and RC1. But that's one of my favorite colors. This is very similar to my dad's favorite bait, but I think that, this was a Basserino, not a Lucky 13. This is, of course, my favorite Lobina Rico color. And here, you got to see this one, because this one's really special. See this one right there? That's why I flunked out of college. Instead of studying at night in Austin, Texas, I would go down the town river and throw a jitterbug in the dark. So it was worth keeping, because my path changed. At the time you go, oh man, terrible decision, terrible. But was it now, looking back in time? So anyway, I hope that answers some of y'all's questions that was curious about all these things. I have to thank my wife for it, because I'm terrible at, I don't even want to tell you how much stuff I've thrown away in my career that falls into this category.